had you for quite a few years, Dobby. Yeah. Creatures, it's Em and welcome back to my channel. If you are brand new here, welcome. My name's Em, I'm a former zookeeper and I'm a digital animal educator. Today I'm going to be helping you explore whether or not ferrets are the right pet for you. Right here I have my little helper Dobby. She is a very old ferret and is mostly blind now, so she doesn't move around quite so much or quite so easily, but she still rules the roost. She is, and always will be, a queen. If you haven't already, remember to hit that subscribe button down below, become part of the creature crew, and also you can hit that notification down in the corner there so you don't miss a single upload. And I'm sure some of you already know about this guy, Niffler. Niffler is my most intelligence challenged ferret, I suppose we could call him. He has no brain cells. Ferrets are generally very intelligent creatures, but Niffler missed that memo. He tries his best. He essentially, half my life with Niffler, most of it is just stopping him from unaliving himself over and over again, which is why in this long boy's honor I have created this long boy, which is my limited edition plushie of Niffler, and it's just so cute and I love it. Look how long it's big. It is long, my goodness. And if you would like to grab your own Niffler plushie, it's only available for the next 8 days, and if we reach our target, then they will be shipping out around March time. So go ahead and grab yourself a Niffler, especially if you love ferrets but it's just not the right time in your life for a Niffler. Please go ahead and hit the pre-order. The link is down in my description box below. The other super special thing about this Niffler is that a percentage of every single sale gets donated to real ferret rescues, so we can help real ferrets in real rescues here in the USA. Look, I made sure it has nice toe beans, and you know the dropper tool when you are in Photoshop that you can use to pull color? I pulled color from Niffler's nose and stuck it on his real jelly bean nose over here, and we went through several rounds of his expression because we wanted him to look more clueless. So he had too much intelligence and now he has none. Thank you so much for listening to this little self-sponsored segment. I appreciate you, and I hope as many of you as possible will be grabbing your own limited edition Niffler plushies. You want to go back to sleep for a while? Okay, you can go back to sleep. You did your job. You did your job. This is my youngest ferret, Noodle. He is a chonkster and he's also a rescue. I got him from the Foothills Animal Shelter back when I lived in Colorado, and he is just a rambunctious, naughty ferret. He is a lot of fun and he absolutely just makes me smile all the time. So, you are considering getting a fur demon, also known as a ferret. Today I'm gonna be brutally honest about the kind of person a ferret will and will not suit. So buckle up, and if you are a ferret owner, I want to hear your feedback as to your experiences keeping ferrets. As an animal educator, I want people to love all animals, of course, but it doesn't mean that I want people to always keep them as pets. Ferrets can make phenomenal pets, but not in the wrong hands. So my job here is to help you better understand if your lifestyle would fit ferret ownership and if ferrets as an animal would suit your lifestyle. Let's go. Number 1, the general personality of a ferret. Of course, every animal is an individual, and you have more outgoing ferrets, more sort of introverted ferrets, and some ferrets who like to live completely separate from every other ferret. They are rare and far and few between. But in general, ferrets are extremely outgoing, full of energy, and highly communal. They are really stimulated by other ferrets, and they really need other ferrets to be happy. So if you are only considering getting one ferret, please don't do it. And if you are dead set on just one ferret, head to a rescue and see if they can already identify for you a ferret that prefers the solo life. Because let me tell you, if you go and buy yourself or rescue a ferret that has been around other ferrets its whole life and bring it home with you, there is not enough hours in the day physically for you to give that ferret what it needs. There is nothing like ferret playtime with another ferret for a ferret. So if it's already a given that you do not want to deal with more than one ferret, a ferret is probably not right for you. Consideration number 2, how much time do you have? Because although ferrets will sleep around 17 to 18-ish hours a day, they do need their playtime, and when they play, they go hard, and you will need to make sure that you are there and present to make sure they're not getting into what they shouldn't, which is all the time. Half of a ferret owner's life is just simply spent stopping a ferret from injuring or unaliving itself. And I'm not making that up. It's a thing. So you want to make sure that you have the time to be present for your ferret and to engage in play. Not only is this important because it's going to be mentally and physically stimulating for your ferret, but you also want to try and create a really close bond, and you do that through regular playtime. For me, my ferrets are out for around 4 or 5 hours every single day, and sometimes I'll even nip home from the office on my lunch break to make sure they can get another bonus run around. So you need time to play with your ferrets, and who doesn't want to make time to play with their ferrets? Truly, there is no point in getting a ferret if your overall goal is just to have an animal that you sometimes play with but that you otherwise keep in a cage. That is not going to be a good fit for you. Ferrets need to be out, exploring their surroundings with you hovering over them every second of the day whilst they're out. So you definitely want to make sure that you plan to be a very present and involved hands-on pet parent if you're going to be keeping ferrets. They really need that. They're highly inquisitive, highly social, highly intelligent, and they want to bond with you. It is going to be so sad for a ferret to know that you are home and not playing with them, especially if that's going to be something that regularly happens. So please do consider if you can set aside 2 to 4 hours of outdoor play in your space every single day. And many ferret owners ferret-proof their homes and let them free roam. This is definitely controversial because that comes with a lot of challenges. It's not always successful, to the detriment of the ferret. So again, you want to really plan, how do you plan to live around these animals? Are you going to be able to give them enough of your time, enough of your energy? They will test your patience, especially kits or babies. They need nip training. They need a lot of hands-on attention and a lot of consistency and a lot of positive reinforcement. So if you can't give that and be hands-on, a ferret is not for you. Do you live in an area where ferrets are permissible? Only until a couple of years ago, ferrets were actually illegal right here where I'm living now in Massachusetts, and they are still currently illegal in New York City. I'm not sure about New York State. I think it is just New York City, as well as in California. So you really want to go ahead and check your local laws, because you don't want to bring home an animal that you're then going to have to relinquish. So do you have the permission to keep your pet? Is your landlord going to be okay with having a ferret in the house? And if that's something that you're thinking about and you are renting a space, a good thing to remind a landlord is that it's not a rodent. They are not a gnawing creature. Many landlords don't like the idea of having rats because they are a gnawsome creature. They will nibble and gnaw if they get out. Ferrets don't do that, but they can maybe find their way into air vents that are placed on the floor, which can be problematic when you live above a shop. I might be speaking from recent experience. So yeah, can you bring them home? Can you ferret proof and make sure that you have permission to keep them and that they will not end up giving people downstairs a nasty surprise? Do you have a sensitive nose, or do you live or plan to live one day with people or a person who may have a sensitive nose? Because no matter what, ferrets will always have a smell. Ferrets will always have an odor. And I don't know how nose blind you guys watching at home who have your own ferrets are, but I'm not in denial. Ferrets smell. They will always smell. It is a delightful smell. I have grown to enjoy it. But there is no amount of spot cleaning, changing up their diet, ventilation that is going to completely take away that smell. That smell is there to stay. And if you have a sensitive nose, or you're going to have a lot of people to your house with a sensitive nose, they are going to smell it. And you can't simply cover it up all day long with scented candles and diffusers and all these different nasty things that pollute the air that are really bad for your pets at home if they're not pet friendly. So please do consider your ferrets, their odor, and the people around you who have to put up with the odor, because it's not for everyone. It doesn't bother me anymore, but I know that the second someone comes in, you can still tell that ferrets live here. It's always just gonna be that way. So if pet odors are abhorrent to you, if people around you are going to give you a hard time about the odors, because they will smell it, especially in the summer. If you are outside for more of the day and you forget to spot clean a bit more, you are going to smell it quite heavily. It will travel through your air vents. I speak from experience. Please do not bring home ferrets without spending a significant amount of time around them and taking a big whiff. Just sniff a ferret, okay? Sniff the ferrets before you buy them, because you're going to be smelling a whole load of that when you get home. How are your finances? Yes, we're going to talk about money, because these little mustelids, these wondrous weasels, this fragrant ramen demon fursuit little stinky slinky is going to cost you some coppers. Yes, they are. They are not a particularly healthy animal, and the vast majority of ferrets in the United States come from one breeder. There is not a lot of genetic diversity, and this causes a lot of cancers. They're very prone to adrenal disease. There is just a lot that can and probably will go wrong with a ferret towards the end of their lifespan, and it can be managed. For example, Dobby has adrenal disease, and I manage this with an implant, but that implant has to be checked regularly. It has to be replaced, and she needs a lot of eye care as well now that she is mostly blind. So of course, we know already that one ferret is not a happy ferret, which is gonna cause a lot more health problems a lot sooner. So that is something that you have to bear in mind. And if you have two ferrets, that's double the vet bills. So please do consider, this is an animal that will need rabies and distemper vaccinations. They will need a yearly checkup, at least 6 months is better. They're going to need good quality food. They're also going to need a really great enclosure. You might be using a certain kind of bedding that you have to purchase every single month. And they're going to need toys as well. So there's certainly investment financially that you have to think about, including the managing of the different ailments that they can unfortunately develop. So if you are not in a great space financially, then perhaps a ferret is something that you could consider a little bit later on in life, or financially plan. There are very few places in the world, I don't know of any even here in the United States, that will offer you health insurance for ferrets. If you know of any, please leave a comment, because I'd be very interested in that. But typically speaking, you are not going to get pet insurance or health insurance for a pet ferret, because they are that problematic when it comes to their health, generally speaking. So you might want to make your own plan and put aside a couple of dollars every month just for the event of when you will need to access those finances. Can you be accommodating of their individual personalities and their development and growth? As kits or babies, ferrets will be nippy, and those teeth being carnivorous, they are obligate carnivores. They eat and crunch through meat and bone, usually. They should be. The best diet for them is a raw diet, which is another video entirely. But that is certainly what their jaws have been designed to do. And as babies, they can become overstimulated. They can also be deficient in understanding how hard is too hard to bite, and they'll be testing the boundaries with you. So you have to be able to understand that it's not a personal thing. Usually when a ferret nips you or bites you, it's usually because they are learning, because they are young, they are excited, and it's on you to correct that behavior gently and to be consistent in how you train your ferret. So if the idea of being bitten by an extremely powerful jaw does not seem appealing to you, again, a ferret may not be for you. Do you have trustworthy people in your life who would be willing to come in and look after your ferret or board your ferret when you decide to go traveling, when you're out of town, when you decide to go on vacation? Who is going to be looking after your ferrets for you? Because you need someone trustworthy who understands them, who's not going to be put off by getting stuck in there and cleaning out those litter trays or scooping out the litter, which gets soiled quite frequently throughout the day. So you're definitely going to want to make sure that you have people on hand who you can trust and who are familiar with ferrets, have a background looking after ferrets, or who are willing to get stuck in there and learn how to really well care for a ferret in the need of you having to leave perhaps very suddenly. So definitely see if you have a backup, because you're gonna need it with your ferrets. And finally, are you able to commit to ferrets for the duration of their lifespan? Now, of course, I'm not going to pretend that everyone is a perfect keeper and will keep their ferrets forever. Life happens, I'm not here to judge. But ideally, people would keep their animals for the duration of their life, especially when they're starting off with them being a young animal, like a young ferret, or hopefully a pair of young ferrets. Ferrets in general will live around 6, 7, 10 years, depending on where in the world you are. 10 years is not uncommon in Europe and in the UK. They have a lot more diversity in their bloodlines, and unfortunately that is not the case here in the USA, where the average ferret lives only 6 to 8-ish years. Dobby is already 7, if you can believe it. That is crazy to me. But she was a very rare, independently bred ferret here in the USA. She's from someone in Florida, I can't remember who. Niffler is up there. He is 6, and he is a Marshall's ferret, which gives me a lot of cause for concern, of course, because of that lack of genetic diversity, which I've spoken about. But so far, touch wood, he seems to be doing just fine. I mean, Niffler's not fine, he's never been fine, there's just something wrong with him in general, but he seems happy and himself and content, so who am I to judge? But yes, ideally you'll be committing to your ferret somewhere in the range of hopefully 7 to 10 years. So please do factor that in and see if that's something that you're willing to commit to. And that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up. You can also find me on all my other socials to see what I'm up to day to day, which is a bit of a fever dream, because here I'm very well behaved and then I just don't hide that I'm completely unhinged on other platforms like Instagram. So if you'd like to follow me, you absolutely can, feel free. I'm basically a ferret in a human skin suit. That is a terrifying image. Thank you all so much for watching. I will see you in another video soon.